Well, it's been 4 days since the tragic air crash which killed the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru, and 10 others. Now, speculation is rife about who would fill up the big shoes left by the late Army Chief. Several names have been touted, but only the President reserves the right to determine who assumes the role. In this report, Defense Correspondent Sifon Essien tries to find out if there's any discernible pattern in the past that could be used to predict who eventually emerges.
Several social media platforms have made their selection of who succeeds Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attahiru as Chief of Army Staff. General Attahiru and 10 others were buried on Saturday after they lost their lives in a plane crash. But the choice of who becomes the Chief of Army Staff is the prerogative of the President. And going by the history of the Nigerian Army, the appointment is largely political.
In Nigeria, the power to nominate is given to the President, who takes his nomination to the National Assembly, and then they assess and then approve, and then the man becomes Service Chief.
The discernible pattern is that the Service Chief is selected from among the 7 Major Generals. And there are presently about 120 Major Generals in the Nigerian Army, although with varying levels of seniority.
Throughout the history of our democracy, we have seen presidents selecting people from the rank of Major General. Tradition, mind you, I say tradition, not law, not requirement. Currently in the Nigerian Army, I don't have the exact number, but because I interact and I have colleagues, I have contemporaries still, even though I'm an old man, I know we have nothing less than 120 Major Generals.
No, you see, it is not about seniority per se. Yes, seniority plays a role, but the appointment of service chiefs is a prerogative of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces.
The big question is the President obligated to appoint the most senior Major General?
So, since we don't have any requirement constitutionally for rank, it is left open at the discretion of the commander. If we want to be dramatic, as far as the question is concerned, we can even say the President can select a lieutenant or a captain and say, I make him President.
Is that possible?
Technically, it is possible. I'm telling you, there's nothing that stops him. They just say you should appoint an officer to be service chief.
I can see him 80% chances of appointing a Major General, a Brigadier General or so. So we are hoping and praying that he will do that within the ranks of the 2-star generals, the Major Generals.
The fallen Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Attahiru, was appointed from among the most senior set of Major Generals, with only 3 of his coursemates having service numbers ahead of him. Until the President makes the call, the Nigerian Army is presently without a substantive head. Sifon Essien, TVC News, Abuja.